Hey everyone, how are you today? I hope you're having a good day. Thank you for visiting me here on Erin Method TV. Today I want to speak about courage. And this word courage, it can mean a lot of different things to us, and we can see it in a lot of different ways. The way that we might need it, the way that we wish we had it, things like that. When we are, facing some of our greatest fears in life, and many of us have fears of rejection, we have fears of not being loved, we have fears of not being accepted, and the underneath, the root of that comes from this belief that we're not enough exactly the way that we are. So because we have this belief that says I'm not enough exactly the way that I am, therefore I'm missing something, there's something wrong with me, and therefore I have to fear that I may never have love, I may never have my needs met, I may never find anybody who wants to be with me like how I am, I may never find I may never create the kind of life or have the kind of life I want because of this. And what happens is then fear sets in, and almost like a survival type of fear that says, oh no, we have to survive, so what can we do to survive? And my point with this is, and I'm going to get to courage in a minute, but with this kind of fear, this perception, which is coming from a perception, a faulty perception about ourselves, we then make choices. We then we hide ourselves in certain ways. We withhold very important information sometimes from our students, our clients, our lovers, our families, our friends. And we do this sometimes consciously, sometimes unconsciously, because there's a very, very deeply rooted need to survive, and a fear that if we are to share ourselves all the way or fully disclose every little thing about us, that people are not going to feel the same way about us, they're not going to see us the same way, they're not going to accept us, they're not going to love us, and we're going to be left to be alone forever, right? And so there's that fear there. And the fear is only there because deep down we don't believe that we're enough exactly the way we are. So we feel like we have to manipulate situations and withhold information. And as I said, it's not always conscious. So sometimes we know we have this belief, this deep belief. Sometimes we don't. Sometimes we kind of know, but we don't know to the extent of which it's wreaking havoc in our lives. And until we make a really crappy decision and suffer the consequences of that. So, when we begin to experience the suffering that comes along with making fear-based choices that come from a belief that say, I'm not enough, what happens is we begin to we perpetuate that cycle. So we try to hang on to something that we want by withholding or not fully sharing or hiding who we are out of a fear, because deep down we don't believe we're enough. And then what happens is we create unnecessary drama, we create we break trust in our relationships or with people that are in our lives. There's a lot of ways that fear that is driving us, that drives the things that we do, it's destructive, and it destroys really, really wonderful things. And these things don't happen to us because life happens to me, I'm damaged, and blah, blah, blah. That's not, we could have that perception if we wanted to, but we don't really begin to heal until we suck it up and take responsibility and say, these things are happening for me, and they're happening because I still need to confront something inside of myself. The belief that I don't deserve to be loved unconditionally, the belief that I need this, that outside of me in order to be okay, when in reality, I've got to be able to give that to myself. You've got to be able to give that to yourself. We've got to be able to give that to ourselves. So how do we do that, right? How do we do that? And I have a mentor, and she always used to get on me for trying to figure things out before I actually just took the action, and I would try to figure out how it was going to work before I would take the action. And she just would say, Erin, you cannot think your way into right action. You must act your way into right thinking. So in my own personal experience, this requires a lot of courage. So in order to break this cycle of, declaring to the universe, like, I'm not good enough, I'm not enough, therefore I have to be afraid that I won't survive if I don't act a certain way and do or do not do certain things, and therefore we continue that cycle. So when we say, okay, I'm sick of creating that, I'm sick of that pattern, I'm sick of the pain that creates for myself, I'm sick of the pain that creates for other people, I don't want to live like that anymore, I'm ready and I'm willing to take responsibility, I'm ready and I'm willing to do something different. And that's where the courage comes in. So courage means sharing what's in our heart regardless of the outcome. So we have to be willing to take a different action than what we've taken in the past and do it the best we can regardless of the outcome. And yeah, it's scary. It's really, really scary. And no, there's no way to know how it's all going to go or how it's all going to turn out. And we have to still do it anyway. We do. And as we do this more and more, we change the course of our reality because we change our actions. So even though there's a period of time where we might go through some really tough transitional emotions, some ups and downs, it's important to remember that if we start to do things differently, we will start to create something differently. And if we can really identify that pain creates pain, hurt people, right? People who think they're not good enough, people who judge themselves, they are much more inclined to judge other people as to not being good enough. So, people who have no compassion for themselves really are not as capable of having compassion for other people. Because until we can look at what we've been through and have compassion for where we've been, we are still judging, and we're still judging other people. Once we see, wow, I am good enough, I am a good person, and I've still had to go through these really hard things, then we look at other people, and we don't just assume anymore, this about them or that about them. Instead, we go, wow, I don't really know where they've been. I don't really know what they've been through, and it's not going to serve anybody for me to assume that I know. So that's another thing I'll talk about, and on another day is assumptions. It's a whole nother discussion. So in order to change our actions, we have to have courage. So I know me personally, I have to pray for that. I have to pray for courage. I have to get on my knees, and I have to pray to a power greater than myself for courage, for help to do things differently because I want to show up a certain way. Do I always do it perfectly? No. Do we always do it in the perfect time? No, we don't. But if we keep moving in the right direction, if we keep moving towards that, we will continue to take those baby steps to create something different. So I just want to invite you today to take a look at how your pain and how your fear might be affecting your perception and therefore your choices, and thus perpetuating itself into your life and creating more and more of itself, whereas we could just do something differently, pray for some courage, invite courage in, and start to take one new action towards something different today. So where might you be able to do that in your life today? I'm going to leave it there. If you would like to work with someone, myself, one-on-one for some coaching to work through anything in particular that you're going through in your life, I am a life coach, and I am happy to speak with you. So you can leave comments here. You can contact me via email, erinlanahanmethod@gmail.com, erinlanahanmethod@gmail.com, or you can just leave your comments here, and I am happy to get back to you. So thank you very, very much. Here's to courage. Have a wonderful night. Have a wonderful day wherever you are, and I will see you soon. Thank you.